Well, welcome back to Cityline. With me, I have, well, two people that I would call the dynamic duo. They are the essence, along with some other team members that we can't fit in my kitchen, of Tacoma Probono. So please join me in welcoming back Laurie Davenport. You are the Director of Development and Outreach for Tacoma Probono, and that is one of your original works behind you. Welcome, Miss Laurie Davenport.
Thank you, Amanda. Happy to be here.
Great to have you here. This lovely man next to you, Mr. Mark Morzol, you are the Housing Justice Project Managing Attorney. Is all of that on your business card?
It has to be, yes.
Tacoma Pro Bono, and that's also one of Laurie's pictures to your left that you just rearranged for us. Mark, welcome back to Cityline.
Good to see you, Amanda.
Great to have both of you on. So, Laurie, for people who are tuning in for the first time or who are in need of the services of Tacoma Pro Bono and they know the name but don't know you, what is your organization about and what does it do in our community?
Well, simple and complicated at the same time. We provide civil legal aid, which basically means everything that's not a criminal charge. We do some intersection with criminal actually a little bit because we can help people get things off their record, juvenile record sealing, vacation of criminal records. We can help people with legal financial obligations that were part of a criminal sentence. So some of that we do, but most of it's civil. And what we mean by that is big stuff like housing, family law, domestic violence protection orders, simple stuff like wills, but they're all things that affect people's lives in a really basic way. So that's what we're all about. One client at a time. We help thousands of people a year. If you're not sure if you need us, give us a call. Actually, don't. Fill out our online intake form during COVID. That's the best way to reach us, but that's what we do.
I love that. Thank you for that. So, Laurie, remind us about the Free 253 partnership in terms of who is involved and, of course, what's the goal and most of all, how is it going?
So Free 253 is a great partnership. It's our program, Tacoma Pro Bono, and our Housing Justice Project specifically, plus the Center for Dialogue and Resolution, our powerful partner. It's just down the block from us, and Fair Housing Center of Washington, which is actually serves the whole state, but we're lucky to have them right here in Tacoma. So we're working with them really closely. The idea is that we're under an eviction moratorium right now, and we don't know exactly when it's going to end. That's been the process all the way through the year. We come up to an ending date and then it gets extended. So people are basically, if you can't pay your rent, if you've lost your job due to COVID, or for whatever reason, the economy is in real strange shape right now and people are really hurting. So a lot of people are unable to pay rent, and during the moratorium, they can stay in their place and don't have to pay rent, but that gets really complicated because as the moratorium keeps getting extended, people owe more and more. If they're not employed, don't have a source of income, what's going to happen? So there are several programs right now that have been worked out to kind of make that happen more easily. And they involve being able to have access to mediation so that tenants can get together with landlords and actually work out a payment plan, which is pretty much mandated, at least suggested under the moratorium, so that they can stay in their place, repay back rent, and make a plan to keep paying so they can stay housed, because that's kind of our whole thing. That's what we're all about. Fair housing is there to make sure that during this period of time when things are kind of upside down, bad things don't happen to people who are on the margins of the community, who tend to be people who are taken advantage of easily, people who don't speak English, may not have a citizenship status that they feel comfortable about. So things can happen during this period of time. Fair housing is there to make sure that people understand their rights, know what should be happening and what shouldn't. So we work together to try to, during this period of time in the moratorium, get people in, work out payment plans, deal with issues, and make sure that this stuff happens before the moratorium ends, when we're all going to be way too overwhelmed. So, and how's it going? We'd like it to be going better. We'd like more people to be taking advantage of it right now. There's not a lot of incentive for people who don't have to pay rent to get this stuff resolved right now, even though it will be an emergency, because there's so much other stuff to deal with. I mean, if you're having trouble figuring out how to get enough food for the week, and you don't have to pay your rent, it's that kind of choice. So.
Yes. So Mark, can you give us an update on how, first off, the Housing Justice Project, that's one, Free 253, and the Eviction Resolution Program and Pierce County Rental Assistance Programs are helping tenants and landlords during this time? Because this is scary. I mean, it's very scary to have a landlord saying, I need rent from you, and then the tenant saying, I have to put food on my table, because this is a no-win for both parties.
Yeah, you hit the nail on the head there. So the housing, and it's a compound question, so let me just run through it. So the Housing Justice Project is continuing to do the work that we normally do, where there's still some carve-outs to the eviction moratorium, where there are individuals out there which are still facing eviction. And the Housing Justice Project is still representing these tenants in courtrooms at their unlawful detainer hearings. Free 253 program, Laurie adequately mentioned what's happening with the Free 253 program. Partnership between the Dispute Resolution Center, Housing Justice Project, and Fair Housing to provide defense and access to mediation for tenants. As far as the early resolution program goes, once the moratorium lifts and non-payment of rent evictions start again, the anticipation, even on the conservative side, is that the amount of evictions will at least double. The early resolution program is a way of trying to avoid that deluge of cases that's going to come through, and allows landlords or tenants to reach out to the Housing Justice Project or to the Dispute Resolution Center in order to start the conversation with a landlord or a tenant about getting a payment plan worked out. Tenants have a lot of options now, a lot of protections for payment plans, but it's important for both sides to start thinking about the light at the end of the tunnel. The last thing is the rental assistance for Pierce County. Pierce County has a substantial amount of money that was doled out through the CARES Act earlier this year, which goes away on December 31st. And so Pierce County is looking to spend all that money by December 31st. They've set a cutoff date of December 4th because they anticipate going through all the money. So tenants interested in getting a portion of that money, Pierce County will pay up to 6 months of rent right now, should contact Housing Justice Project at hjp@tacomaprobono.org for assistance in getting that ball rolling.
Wow. So Mark, two questions for you. Do you think that this December 31st eviction moratorium will be extended? And then what can tenants do who owe back rent now to prepare for that?
Yeah, so I think, and most housing practitioners believe that the eviction moratorium will be extended. So if you're a landlord and you're thinking January 1st, you're going to start your eviction processes again, it's probably not going to happen. Now, there might be adjustments that are made to the eviction moratorium for certain areas, but again, nobody knows when that, what that actual language is going to be. And unfortunately, if the past is any indicator, or maybe fortunately, the eviction moratorium is generally extended just a few days before the expiration of the current one. So all of us are going to be in suspense until the last minute, until the 11th hour. And tenants right now, if they want to start thinking about this, the first thing is access the Pierce County rental assistance. That's free money that is going to tenants. Pierce County really desperately wants to spend all this money, otherwise it goes away in December 31st. Now's the time to reach out. Housing Justice Project at Tacoma-Probono.org. We could put you in contact with the rental assistance, or Dispute Resolution Center, which could put you in contact with the rental assistance. That would be the best way to start thinking about these things. If you're a tenant out there that is concerned about your landlord, working out a payment plan with your landlord, or vice versa, a landlord that's interested in working out a payment plan with a tenant, contact the Housing Justice Project, and we could get the ball rolling with the assistance of the Dispute Resolution Center.
Excellent. So in these last few minutes here, Miss Laurie, the Housing Justice Project is expanding its services. Can you tell me what's in the works?
Okay, this is exciting. In the past, Housing Justice Project has really been just funded to be down in the courthouse, ready to help people who would show up for hearings, for eviction hearings, and try to negotiate something, try to represent people in court, that kind of thing. So basically just defense, eviction defense. So that's part of the problem. But, our whole thing is homeless prevention. And there's two ways to go about that. One is to help people not get kicked out of their place. The other is to get people who aren't housed right now into a place. And there are a lot of barriers to that are really simple legal processes that we can help with. If people have an eviction on their record, we can help them get that removed. And if they happen to have a source of rental assistance, a job, some other kind of money that's potentially there for them, as long as they can qualify to get into a place, we can help that happen. Same goes for legal financial obligations, for criminal records, warrants, things that might be in the way. So this is basically, like Mark puts it, I love this, going on offense.
So there are so many different programs and projects ready to help people who might be facing eviction when the moratorium ends. Is there a central contact that people can use to get help?
Yes. I mean, we have so many different organizations out there. And in a way, it doesn't, because we're all working together, it doesn't really matter who you contact, because any door you go through works. But the best door, the most central one, is going to be Tacoma Probono, because that's the way we have stuff set up. hjp@tacomaprobono.org is probably the fastest. We have an online intake form that anybody can use. Just go to our website, fill it out, and we will get back to you. We also have a phone number, 253-572-5134, extension 102.
So Mark, last question. We are undoubtedly still in the midst, we will be for, in my opinion, years and years to come in terms of civil unrest. If one of your tenants think that a landlord is doing something wrong to them, Laurie mentioned we have people who have language barriers, we have people who are not citizens quite yet. What can you do for them, and who should they call?
Yeah, so housing law has become tremendously complicated. And even if we just look at the scenario we're in right now, where there's all these moving pieces between moratoriums, the CDC has their own moratorium. There's the Residential Landlord Tenant Act. It's difficult to navigate all these things. I would reach out to a pro bono attorney, which, Housing Justice Project, for any housing related questions or issues. And that would be send an email to hjp@tacomaprobono.org. We could assist tenants regardless of their status. And so I would strongly encourage anyone to reach out and at least get a consultation with an attorney to figure out what their legal rights or obligations are in any particular situation. These things are very complicated, and it's tough to navigate it yourself.
And in the sense of removing barriers, if somebody does not have a computer, can they just leave a message on the phone?
Absolutely. And Laurie left that number a little bit earlier, or if you want to just repeat it for the audience. Yeah.
The number to leave a voicemail is 253-572-5134, extension 102.
Perfect. Thank you both so much for your time today, to taking time out of this crucial work that you do that changes lives to spend 13 minutes with me. I so appreciate it. And I'm going to see you next month when it may be a different story in December that we're talking about, but know that on behalf of Cityline, we thank you so much.
Thank you, Amanda.
Thanks, Amanda.
You're welcome. We have to pause for a quick break. We'll be right back. Don't go away.